at Alabama 1 or 2 years and then, go back into a head coaching role. I mean, how choosy are you at this point, and how much interest has there been in the last couple of years?
Well, I think you just got to, you can't worry about what you can't control. And so all I can control is improving as a coach, getting our players ready for games, continue to learn from Coach Saban, and then whatever happens, happens. I have a great job, and any time that there's any thinking any different, I just remind myself, how many people would want to be the offensive coordinator for Nick Saban. And take out the head coach's experience, period, at the 3 different places that I was at. I think I would have said, if you were to say you were going to work for Pete Carroll and Nick Saban, before you're ever 40 years old as their coordinators on some very successful teams, when you're 25 years old, you take that in second.
Lane, you could have gone last year, though. You didn't go. You didn't want to do one and done with it. You want to come back.
Yeah, it didn't feel right. There were some opportunities last year, and it didn't feel right. And I kind of always been somebody that, whatever the challenge was, I didn't care. I just want to accept it and not really think it through very much and just go. But he really took a chance on me. When the phone wasn't ringing. For assistant coaching jobs, it wasn't. 2 years ago. So I just felt like we didn't really finish what we started last year. And to see if we can go this year and finish how we should have finished last year, and get him another championship.
I've read where Coach Saban has said he has a general philosophy about platooning, and having a couple of running backs to share the load. What is your thought, and how is maybe having Derek altered that a bit?
Yeah, I don't think he didn't think this. None of us thought that this was going to happen. To think Derek wasn't even the starter last year. I think it's 2 things of why it happened. The first thing is Derek. He's just unique. They just don't make guys that big, that fast, that tough. They don't. That's genetics and work ethic. And then the second thing was injuries to Kenyon Drake. And so I don't think the numbers would be where they were had Kenyon not had been injured. They'd still be up there, but I think there'd be some more balance in there. So I think it was a combination of those 2 things. And just watching the game, I was always a 20-25 carry, not just so they're wearing down. You got to worry about ball security, because that's where the fumbles increase. And so, it just blows me away sometimes because I've asked from upstairs on the headset, where's he at? He's at 32, he's at 36, he's at 38 carries. But it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't even seem like you're giving him all that much. It doesn't seem like he's wearing down at all. And you're down there to see the body language and to see how he is. And so we both talk about it all the time about taking him out, but there's no reason to.
And then do you have a tough call in this game? You want to get Kenyon some action, but it's been so successful, the formula?
Yeah, I don't think it's a tough call. It's a great situation to be in. Again, goes back to Coach Saban and how he's recruited over the last 4 years to have so many great players on our team and so many options. So it's a good thing to have, obviously. We got to do what's best to win, and whether that's run 70 times, I'm not gonna say throw 70 times, but throw 40 times, whatever it is, we got to do the best thing to win. So it's never how you think it's going to be going in. It isn't. I may think right now it's going to be one way, and you go into the game and they're playing different defenses. The game's going different. Special teams, defense, other side of the ball. You don't know how that's going to go, so you never know.
Have you gotten more adaptable since you've been in Alabama? Because obviously your offense this year very different from your offense last year, and then it's evolved as years go. Would you have been like that earlier in your career?
I don't think I would have, because I think by not being the head coach and going back to being the offensive coordinator affords me time to do those things of evolving and changing, of going to TCU this offseason, going down to Houston with Tom Herman, being able to talk with other coaches as we study their film, because that's all I'm doing. Whereas the head coach, you don't really, a lot of times you don't have the time to do all those things because you're dealing with so many other things. And so I do think that was, as I look back, what I would have done different is after that 10-2 USC year with Barkley coming back and all that, I don't think we grew any. I think what we did is just expect, what I did was just expect, okay, we can just go do what we did and do it again. But when you're, everybody else, every other defensive coordinator that you're going against usually isn't the head coach. What are they doing? They're spending their whole offseason, how can we beat SC because they're preseason #1 or whatever. So, where this year, spent the offseason growing it, and I think that was big, because I think if we would have tried to just do our offense last year with Jake and the people that we have, I don't think we'd be as successful as we are right now.
How good is Nick encouraging you guys to change? I mean, he seems like a guy who is willing to admit what he doesn't know. kind of adapt to it?
Yeah, I think that's something people don't give him very much credit for or think about him. Is he is always changed. They think maybe he's old school and it just is how it is. It's not. Whether it's him bringing other people in or sending us out to go see people, and he does it on defense too. He's always watching. He's always looking at things, a new approach to things. And I think by him allowing us to do what we've done on offense is a great example of that. Last year, at times this year, going up tempo, going fast. We don't huddle hardly ever. I think everybody would have thought, well, he's never going to do that because of things he said about it. Well, no, he figured out, okay, hey, this is what's winning. Let's go see if we can adapt and use some of this.
What was the biggest thing that you took from those trips this offseason that has impacted this year's offense?
I think being with Coach Herman, and we went down there, spent a lot of time with him individually, and then brought his staff back here later on to go back over things after we had implemented some things in spring. He's really, really, really sharp and has great rules for the different stuff that they do. And so I think being around him and getting some stuff from him offensively has really helped us, especially in utilizing the faster motions, whatever you want to refer that to, the jet sweeps type of motions and stuff that Ohio State was so good at a year ago, and gave us problems in that bowl game last year.
What was your relationship before this offseason?
I didn't know him. I was at the Broyles Award with him. It was the first time I'd ever met him. I was just really impressed with him, that day of being around him and talking to him and stuff. And so we just kind of started talking from there, and that's kind of how we ended up.
Do you prefer offensive coordinator or head coaching job? What do you think is best for you?
Well, I don't know what's best. I mean, I don't think there's many people that would ever answer the question, I don't want to be a head coach. When and if that time comes, I know that I'm much better prepared than I was before because, obviously having a chance to be with Coach Saban and learning from him, and I wouldn't go be him. I think sometimes when you're young, you try too much to maybe be Pete Carroll because you came from him. Well, you got to eventually figure out yourself and figure out, okay, this is what I take from here, from these different guys, or even from Coach Coughlin when I worked for him for a year. Take all those things now, and now instead of just going into things and kind of a little bit unprepared, now you're prepared more for all the different situations come up and say, okay, this is how Coach Carroll may have handled this is how Coach Saban would, this is how I would handle it. I would take this from him, this from him.
How much do you worry about the timing of that, knowing how this business works, where one guy's flavor of the month, and and then guys kind of fall off the radar? Now you've had a couple of years where you haven't taken a job. Do you worry about the timing of that at all?
Yeah, I can't control that. And so that's just how it is nowadays. You can be hot one year, and then the next year, you lose some players because at the end, obviously, players are a big part of your success. So, this year, I think that only returning 2 starters, new quarterback, and all those things, I think was really challenging. And so it was good to spend an entire offseason. Okay, how can we make this work with all these new set collection of players?
Did you bring any coaches in over the break?
Over this break right here, we did not bring any coaches in over this break. No.
Do you see yourself back at Alabama next year?
Mm-hmm. I'd love to be back there. I think we'll have a new set of challenges with the 3rd year of a new quarterback. A lot of great players. Replace a Heisman Trophy winner just as we did a Blitnikoff winner the year before, and then some great returning players to work with. I'd be really excited about that.
From an offensive philosophy standpoint, what's the difference between the traditional spread and the pro style? What gives when the quarterback has the chance to read the defense, what makes that offense